Hola from the west side. It is me, DCThePurpleDiva. Welcome to Not So Random Chat. Happy Monday, y'all. Well, first thing I need to do is I need to share out my own chat, because I know that it doesn't always get shared out. So let me just do that right now as I start this. I'm just doing that live. Come on through. All right, so I put that out there. I see there's a couple of people in the chat, but I'm posting this out. Happy Monday. So I'm in a mood, y'all. I'm in a bit of a mood. So I'm gonna try to articulate how I'm feeling and talk about what needs to be talked about. So there are now 4 Black people that have been found hanging from a tree. Four. Two in California, 1 in New York, and 1 in Atlanta. And the one in Atlanta was a Black woman. The other 3, from what I understand, were Black men. So we're being told to believe that we're out here lynching ourselves now. We're hanging ourselves from trees. The young man in Palmdale, California, was found hanging from a tree across the street from City Hall. Okay? There was one in Victorville, 38-year-old young man. The one in Palmdale was 24. The one in New York, I don't have an age on that person, but it was in Manhattan. Manhattan, in the city. And then the young lady in Atlanta. So we have 4 now. Good morning, Underrated Darkness. Hey, Matt. 4. But there's no foul play. Like, what the? We are supposed to believe that. Now, I know somebody's trying to send a message, because they don't like what we're doing. We've been fighting back. Hey, Angel. But we now have 4 people. You know, one of my cousins posted something today on her Facebook. I'm going to just read to y'all what she said, because, yeah, it was profound. So here's what she said. If you asked me in December what I thought would make a comeback in 2020, I would not have guessed the plague and lynching. Alas, here we are. Here we are, y'all. You know, they were lynching Black people in the 50s. and before. And most of them were happening, or the ones that we knew about, shall we say, were in the South. But none of this is happening in the South, except for the one in Atlanta. The other three were in other areas of the country that were not under Jim Crow. And we know we have, in many, many police departments, racist cops. And they say that they want to get them out. But here's my thing. I'm not saying it all for, but especially that one that happened in Palmdale across the street from City Hall. Y'all, that's not the kind of statement a Black person would make. Nor would it become a trend. It would not be a trend. We need to look for some evidence, and it needs to be outside agencies looking at this, because I don't trust the police to look into these themselves. I'm sorry. I think that there's a cover-up going on. 4 people that commit suicide by hanging themselves in a tree. And they're all Black? Really? Now, I'm going to say this. Y'all can take it how you feel. But I need to see some bodies hanging from a tree that are not Black for me to believe that there's no foul play involved. You know? We need to see everybody hanging from trees, you know? Since y'all are trying to lead us to believe that these people are committing suicide. That's not what's happening. That's not what's happening. And I don't know if it's because of the protests that are going on around the country that all of these things are just coming to light and everything. You know, I don't know if it was going on before. But this does not need to become a trend. And if this is how law enforcement is trying to send a message to Black people, we're not going to shut up about the injustice. We can't. We can't. It's a cover-up, though. Because almost every one of these people is under the age of 40. I mean, one is 24, the same age as my son. And nothing's come out that this kid was into anything. The one in Palmdale. See, what they don't understand is, you know, Black men, if they're going to take themselves out, they don't hang themselves unless they're in jail. And then they're still not doing it by rope. They're doing it by bed sheets. Or a belt. But in everyday society, we don't, if we're going to hang ourselves, we're not going to go and hang ourselves from a damn tree. When people are found hanging from trees, you need to immediately think lynching. No one willingly hangs from a tree, except for Jesus Christ. And he wasn't hanged. He was nailed to it. I'm over it. It's, you know, they want everyone to shut up. They want the protest to stop. They're not going to stop. What they don't understand is that these are not the people from the 1950s and before who you could scare by lynching innocent people. These people, it only makes them more pissed off. So, if I were law enforcement, I would be really, really being real careful right now. You know, real careful. Now, I don't know if any of you guys have seen the videotape of the man in Atlanta who was shot by police after aiming a taser at them. And y'all, I'm gonna say this, but that man appeared to have a death wish, because, yeah, I agree that the officers did not have to use deadly force, but once he took their taser, under their protocol in Atlanta, they legally could use up to deadly force, because that taser could also be deadly force. And I saw him beating up on the police as well. Now, I'm not saying the officers were right. He should not have shot him. I don't know, somebody should have tased and done something other than kill him. But it looked like he didn't care about his life. It was I believe a DUI stop. Now, a mistake that the officer made is he never told this man he was under arrest, nor did he read him his rights. You know, that should have been what he said to him when he asked him to step out of the car. And according to the news, that is the only reason that the Atlanta police chief stepped down, because the officer did not let this man know that he was going to arrest him in the beginning. Hey, misunderstood. So, you know, I'm conflicted in regards to this Rashad, because this isn't like George Floyd. It's not like Ahmaud. It's not like Breonna. You know, I don't know what was going through his mind, because, you know, even though it was a DUI, he was clearly sober enough to run away from police, beat their behinds, you know, and snatch a taser off of one of the officers. It's really unfortunate that in this current climate that officer chose deadly force. You know, because 9 times out of 10, Rashad probably didn't know how to properly use that thing, that he could even put it on deadly force. But, you know, I understand they couldn't take that chance from that perspective. But there's going to have to be some other procedures on a go-forward basis in situations like this. Because even though it appears to me that man had a death wish, because he did everything to get shot. And apparently his sister's house was across the street from the restaurant where he fell asleep in the drive-thru. I don't know what made Wendy's call the police instead of just going out there just to see if the dude was okay. You know? And I believe they burnt that Wendy's down to the ground or something. So that Wendy's isn't even there anymore. But this isn't like George Floyd. And I'm afraid that more black men are going to react in the same way that Rashad did. And more police officers are going to react in the same way that that officer did. And we're going to be in the middle of a war. You know? We already are. You know? And if y'all can't see, every day I'm like, I pray tomorrow there won't be another body that somebody finds that was hung. I pray that it doesn't happen again. Now, the two places that it happens here in California, those are very racist parts of you know, Southern California. One was in San Bernardino, the one in Victorville. The other was in Palmdale, which is in the Antelope Valley in Los Angeles County. But yeah. And unfortunately, in Palmdale, a lot of the racism is coming from between black and brown. It's brown that has a lot of animosity towards black. But I don't think that they would have done something like this. You know, no matter, you know, the struggles the two ethnicities may have, you know, if it's a beef between, you know, two young men, that's not how they're going to resolve it. So I know that there's a lot of supremacists that are hiding in plain sight. And unfortunately, many of them are in the police department. Hey, Maria. But this is for black young people that have been found hung in different places in the United States. 2 in California, 1 in New York, and 1 in Atlanta. And in each case, we're being told that there's no foul play involved. Like, I bet you that's what they tried to tell the people back in the 50s. I bet you they tried to convince those folks that these people were just hanging themselves, even though they knew else, you know, that wasn't the case. But you're not going to convince me that these people are hanging themselves. You're not going to convince anybody. We're not believing it. But my question is, how many more bodies have to come up hanging from a tree in 2020? In 2020. I mean, we are over 50 years from civil rights. Which brings me to another thing I wanted to talk about. So, the the Supreme Court, why? The Supreme Court has decided that the Civil Rights Act of 1964 will now include sexual orientation. And I don't have an issue with people's sexual orientation. My issue is that I don't see sexual orientation as a civil right. It may be a personal right, but I don't see it as a civil right, as the way that the civil rights movement was meant. And hear me out, y'all. My belief with this inclusion is that all this will do is help white gay men have all of their full 100% privilege of being a white male. Now that they're included in this, I do not think that it's going to help lesbians or gays of other ethnicities. Because if you're gay and you're black, you're still black. And that's really what they see first. And even though, they're not supposed to discriminate because of the color of your skin, we all know as black people, instances where we ourselves or someone we know either didn't get a job or lost a job because of the color of their skin. See, because people don't necessarily know sexual orientation when you're going for a job interview. And I don't think that it should be something that is included under a civil right. Yeah, I believe they should have the rights. I just don't think it should be under civil rights. Because I think that it takes away from the civil rights being for people who are black, who can't change the fact that we're black. We cannot change the color of our skin. Okay? It helps us in becoming homeowners. Stop things like redlining and everything. They don't redline you from buying a house or getting a mortgage on a house in a certain area because of your sexual orientation. It doesn't even come up in the lending process. What does come up is the color of your skin. So these are my feelings. I've always felt that way I've always had that problem about the push for it to be put into the civil rights. And it's not black gays who've been pushing it. It's the white gay male agenda. So to me, it now gives them 100% of their white male privilege. And that's what helped. Let me see what you guys are saying. No, intoxication should not be a death sentence. I agree with you on that, Misunderstood. I'm in my head when I'm watching that video, and I encourage you guys, if you have not watched it, to watch it. It's pretty graphic. But when dude pulled we're like, why he pull the taser? Why did he take that cop's taser? Because that was the turning point. I think he would have still been alive. And I don't think he was that intoxicated. Because if you saw this video, he was moving pretty fast for somebody who's intoxicated. I believe he said he had a drink and a half. And he wasn't a little dude, so I don't think that a drink and a half would make him drunk unless he's not a drinker. That's what I'm saying, misunderstood. At the very beginning, the cop should have told him he was under arrest. He shouldn't have just said move. He should have made it, and he didn't do that. I don't think that that would have changed how Rashad reacted. But it may have fostered a different outcome. It was like he was pushing them to do something to him.
Oh, here, I know you want this.
Like he was pushing them to do something to him. So that's why I'm like, he should have, like, the officer was definitely in the wrong from the beginning. I don't even know if the officer who shot him was the original arresting officer. Because, you know, that part of the video, you can't see that part as clear because, you know, they're running off in the distance. And it's a bunch of white officers to me. Yeah, they didn't even handcuff him. It didn't even get to that point. And yeah, you know, a lot of people have, you know, people's opinion is that he was afraid and that's why he did it. I don't know. Because we honestly don't know what was going through his head. But when you look at that videotape, it's like you have to wonder, did he have a death wish? With all the BS that was already going on. You know, and Atlanta opening back up. And, you know, it's like, I'm just going to say this, y'all. It's like as soon as the country started opening back up, it was like a war on black people, like killing black people. You know, because none of the people who, quote unquote, were hanging from trees were criminals. Yet if they ended up hanging from a tree. And here's why I say I think police were involved in some of these incidents. Like at least in the one that happened in Palmdale. Because that happened right by City Hall. Nobody saw nothing. No cameras caught anything. But, you know, generally, if you're approached by police, usually, you know, as a black person, you try to remain calm. And they may have, you know, it could have been somebody on some stuff about us. They wanted to send a message. Because it's very convenient that with all the cameras in downtown Palmdale, that none caught where this young man supposedly hung himself. It's very strategic. You know, I know people don't like to think about conspiracies. I'm not saying, you know, that COVID was man-made. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But I know that man had a extreme hand in making things happen the way that they did happen, as far as the entire world shutting down, pretty much, and except for Sweden. Let's not forget Sweden didn't close down. But it was a strategic move. And we don't like to talk about the New World Order, but they've been planning ways to get to a New World Order. Think about it. Right now, with all the churches and all the synagogues and everybody having to shut down and now just slowly opening back up, they've controlled people's right to religious freedom and to worship. So what's the next step? Having a universal church that we can all go to. One world religion. Do away with everything that we're doing. And y'all know which one I think they would pick. The one I have a problem with. The one that bastardized the gospel. The one that made white people think that was them in the Old Testament. The Catholic Church. I think that if they try to move towards that's what they would do. Because that's the one church out of all of the religious that's around here that's politically involved. They have their own freaking country within a country, with their own banking and police and mail system and all of that stuff. And they really don't answer to anybody. And that, Vatican City is owned by the Catholic Church. I'm not kidding. If they try to push into it, I'm telling you, because think about it. That one religion took so many different things into it to accommodate the Europeans. Being a believer is not a European thing, but being a Christian is. Because what you see as being a Christian is their thing. That's why I always set myself apart as a believer. Because it's not about religion, it's about relationship. And I'm telling you, that's another thing that I see coming. It's all because think about, y'all see how fast they were able to shut the whole world down? You see how fast they were able to do that? And it controlled everyone's money, your food, your being able to socialize, you're being able to go to church, you're being able to work. Everything was locked down worldwide. Think that wasn't some strategic maneuvering that was done at a high level, purposefully? No one is suggesting good behavior, because we see what happens when we act right? I mean, you have to look back at the civil rights, and see, that's what I'm thinking about. These people, who are fighting for all of this stuff to be included in the civil rights, they don't even understand. They don't understand what it was really about and what it's really about. Because they ignorantly think that the Civil Rights Act gave us what we need to have. No, it didn't. We're still slaves. We're still slaves. Our civil rights can be taken away with the pen. Our right to vote can be taken away with a pen. Our emancipation, even though it's in the amendment, they can take away that amendment with the pen. None, the Declaration of the Independence, the Constitution, none of that was written for Black people. Police departments were not formed to protect and serve Black people. And I'm talking about the Black people who are the descendants of the people who were raped from their land. I'm not talking about people who have immigrated over here of their own free will. This is not about y'all. Not about you Nigerians, not about Africans. It's not. It's about us. And nobody else understands that although that Civil Rights Act exists, we still don't have everything that's in there. And now somebody else is trying to jump in there and bring their agenda into it and muddy the waters. And the Supreme Court let that happen. They did that. That's what I have a problem with. Couldn't they if it was this important, make something separate. Why did it have to be included in something that was about specifically Black people? The one thing we don't have a choice about. We can't hide that we're Black. You can hide your sexual orientation. I'm not saying that you should have to, but you can. So, hey Terry. Y'all know I'm on a rant. I'm sorry. It gets like that sometimes. But it's like, I mean, I like to look at the glass as half full. I really do. Instead of half empty. But y'all, the protests are not doing a damn thing. If anything, it seems that they're just like thumbing their noses at us. That's what it seems like. Because if you notice, police officers have been acting up a lot more often lately. Even in the middle of this. Because they are under the impression that no matter what happens, it's going to be like 1992 and Rodney King. And we cannot let that happen. But I don't know if just being peaceful is going to do the trick. Even if we did one in every single town and city in the entire country. Now, the rest of the world, yes. Because this is not their problem. It's really ours. But we got to do more than protest. We got to do some serious stuff. And we have to forcibly make things change. We can't deal with promises, hopes and dreams. You know, we are past Dr. King's I Have a Dream. Because the truth be told, we shouldn't be still looking forward from his I Have a Dream speech. And yet we are. But again, if police officers or their friends are behind all of these lynchings, y'all, it's going to get really bad. It's going to get really bad. Because there's only 4 bodies now. You know, and these are in places where there is no Jim, where there was never any Jim Crow. Well, except for Atlanta. And that was a black woman, where they're saying there was no foul play. They must really want Atlanta to go up in flames. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They don't. Well, here's the thing. The police officers, they know that this president will back them before he backs us. He has made that very crystal clear. You know? He's made it crystal clear that that's where he stands. But I think we're going to have to do more than defund police departments. I think it's more than that. You know, because most of these people still own guns as citizens. I'm just telling y'all. Like if I wake up tomorrow morning and it's another and they found another person hanged, you know, I'm just waiting for something to happen deep in the deep South, like Mississippi, or out in the bayous in Louisiana. We all still remember the Gina 6. We ain't forgot. We ain't forgot. We ain't forgot none of those killings. I mean, all of the killings that have been going on for the last 5-6 years that have been getting all over social media down in the South. People being, you know, black men being killed. It's not just the police officers killing them. It's not just police officers killing black people. Everybody seems to want to kill us. They don't want us to be here. But the thing is that this generation, they wasn't around when the lynchings happened back in the 50s. Hell, I wasn't around when the lynchings happened back in the 50s. You feel me? I wasn't here. Most of us weren't here. My daddy was here. But the people who you trying to scare. The only ones who are going to be scared are the ones who are in their 80s, 70s, and 80s, who remember. The rest of us, you're just pissing us off because we're like the audacity to try to make us think that these people are hanging themselves on trees with rope. That's not how we go. That's not what we do as Black people. Why don't we hang ourselves? Well, because y'all hung us. Y'all were hanging us from trees for a long, long time. So if we want to go out, we generally don't want to go out that way. We might take some pills. We might jump off a bridge. We might shoot ourselves.
Look, there's another one.
Another one?
A Black man was found hanging from a tree outside of Houston today.
Okay, so
That's
now
5 Black men hung in the country in a week.
So now,
All-room suicide.
so
Yeah,
now this is number 5 in Houston, y'all, today. And they're ruling it a suicide. This is number 5. Jesus. These people are not killing themselves. It's time for it, you know. It's time for some. It's time for something, y'all. Since we on YouTube, I don't want to say what, but y'all know what I'm saying. Hey, Sunset. So that's number 5 today in Houston. Yesterday was the lady in the ATL. And they've ruled all of them suicide. Every single one. Like we just out here hanging ourselves from trees. We do not lynch ourselves. Suicide. They need to check these people's wrists for handcuffs. They need to see if they have any head injuries. Because I don't know anyone of color that would hang themselves from a tree. We don't hang ourselves from trees. We don't. We don't. 5 people. 5 people. It's almost half a dozen. Five people in the last week. Now, the one in Victorville actually happened on the 31st. So that one happened right after George Floyd. And that's probably why that one got covered up, but now it's popped up. But within a couple of weeks, 5 Black people have been found hanging from trees. Not out in the country, but like in cities. Houston, New York. Because the one in New York was in Manhattan. Sunday, did you hear about the one in New York that was in Manhattan? The Black man they found hanging from a tree? This is insane. They are lynching people. They are lynching Black people. That's the message that they want us to hear. That if we don't shut up and stop doing what we're doing, we're going to get lynched. That's what they're trying to tell us. That's what they're trying to tell us. Yep. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That one happened in NYC, and they're saying it happened in Manhattan. Now one happened in Houston. So as Palmdale, Victorville in California, Houston, Atlanta, and New York. Exactly, because that's what we're dealing with. These people ain't out here hanging themselves. Stop it. And the tactic that's being used is not going to put fear in the masses. They don't even see that. They don't even understand. They have no idea what they start. Tell you what, if you're a member of a extreme organization, I'd hide my card, burn it, make sure all my cookies and everything are off of my internet browsers and stuff. Because there's going to be some people looking for y'all folk. But no, this has to be tactical, because what's going on are tactical moves. They're responses. So now the question is, how are we going to respond to what is being done now? How are we going to respond to this? Because now they're hiding. Cowards. So that their hands are clean, hiding their hands behind their back, doing their dirty work. These people are not killing themselves, y'all. They're not killing themselves. And we're now up to 5 people. 5 Black lives that somebody decided did not matter. Now Houston's going to lose it. So now New York has been pretty peaceful, I don't know how they're going to be behind this. I don't know how Houston's going to act behind this. Atlanta was already tripping, so it is what it is. They going to act a fool in Atlanta. They already are. They already are acting a fool. So we'll just see. No, a march. Protest do not do anything. Changing laws helps. I mean, getting involved in that, changing, judicial stuff, changing what's going on in the police department. But none of that can be done by marching. That means you have to be a little bit more involved in it than that. That means there's got to be more skin in it than that. That means you got to do a lot of researching on what the hell is going on. They didn't mention it on the news. Well, it's all over the internet that it happened. But that's not surprising that it wouldn't be mentioned. They ain't trying to tell us about all of these things that are happening. Let me look, see if I can see something. I'm just looking to see if I can find it. Hanging Manhattan Park. Yeah, they're saying it's a suicide, and it somebody from the Bronx. 27-year-old from the Bronx. In Manhattan Park. That's the one I heard about this morning. So that happened, I guess, over the weekend. Yeah, I know. So this one got pushed under. I know. I was talking about that earlier. Yeah, they added them to the Civil Rights Act. They added supposedly the LGBTQ community to the Civil Rights Act. That's what they did. Because, you know, Black people don't need that. We don't need that all to ourselves. You know, we've gotten enough use out of it. That's the way they feel. So now, gay white men will get their full white male privilege. That's what happens. That's what I think will happen. But we'll see. We'll see. But that's what I think is going to happen. I don't think it's going to change anything for anybody else but the white gay males. I know we refuse to get organized, but here's the thing. We got to. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. We are at a red alert. 5 Black people have been found hanging in trees. All have been ruled a suicide. All. Most and every single one of them, I believe, is under the age of 40. I think the oldest was the one in Victorville, 38. I think all the rest are in their 20s. You know? And in none of these has anything come out that any of these people had any mental issues, nothing about them being strung out or anything. Even if you strung up, we don't hang ourselves from a tree. Even if we high out our mind. That might make us do something like jump off a building. You know, if they were saying that we were jumping off buildings, I might could understand that one. But you're not going to tell me that we're hanging ourselves from trees. You're not going to tell me that and make me believe it. I'm sorry. No. Even though we weren't here when the lynchings happened, we know about them. Enough about them that it's not the way that we would take ourselves out. And every time we see a Black man or woman hanging from the tree, we are going to automatically think that they were lynched. Especially in the current climate in this country. We have a president that doesn't give a F about us as Black people, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not saying that the one that's running against him gives a hoot about us either. But Black America, if we're going to be here, we're going to stay here, we're going to have to figure out a way to stop these people from killing us. Yeah, I know we got to deal with the Blacks killing the Blacks. That's that plantation mentality. You know, That's a big one that, yeah. But if we could stop everybody else from killing us, that would be a big accomplishment. If we could stop everybody else from killing us, that would be a big accomplishment. And we are not trying to go back to the days of lynching. So whoever's out there making these things happen, it ain't gonna be nice. It's not gonna be nice. Because we're not gonna just stand around and let people be hanging from trees and believe that they killed themselves. And I hope that they're doing independent investigations into all of those and not just letting the police departments handle it. Because that's what we have a problem with. Let me come on to camera so you guys can see me. About to jump off of here. Oh, here comes David, y'all. He's coming. Hey, everyone. Here comes David. He's coming. He's coming. He's coming. Told you. Wave.
Wave. Wave.
You not going to say hi?
Yeah, hi.
That's YouTube.
The YouTube.
Okay?
Okay.
Mom's going to get ready to get off, okay?
Okay.
All right.
All right.
All right. Thanks. Can I have my pillow back? Thank you. Thank you. All right, you guys. This is a war. It's not just about George Floyd. It's not just about Breonna. Not just about Ahmaud. 5 Black people have been found hanging from trees. And we're supposed to believe that they all committed suicide. That's what we're supposed to believe. I don't believe that. Anyway, guys, I will see y'all on tomorrow. Until then, I offer you guys all peace and blessings from the West Side. Thank y'all for sitting. I hope I gave you guys some information that was good. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.